Joining me right now, Avery Friedman, a civil rights attorney and law professor in Cleveland. Good to see you. And Richard Herman, a New York criminal defense attorney and law professor, joining us from Las Vegas. Good to see you. Okay, so Richard, let me begin with you. The White House and the president's attorney, Rudy Giuliani, quickly pouncing on this, saying it's merely the president's opinion. But when the opinion comes from the president, is it also an order?
Fred, this is an unhinged individual who's feeling the pressure of a very professional criminal investigation closing in around him. And if you like titles and you practice federal law, there's no doubt in my mind, whether we know he can be indicted or not, he is the target in this investigation, Fred. He is, and he knows it. And it's getting closer and closer. But we've been told by Sean Spicer and by Sarah Huckabee and other people in the administration, his tweets are pronouncements by the president. They are official statements, official statements. And Fred, they go to his state of mind. So any one tweet in particular may not in and of itself be a crime, but when you look at it and you look at him directing and telling Sessions to stop the investigation, stop the investigation, Fred, that is when the president tells someone you should stop the investigation. Forget about the fact that Sessions can't do it because he recused himself.
Way far afield,
no, we're not. You got to focus. Focus. When the president tells someone they should do something, that's a direction. That's how Comey took it, and that's how Sessions is taking it. And we don't need the carnival barker, Giuliani, and other people to interpret for us what the president says. We can understand English, understand his words.
So why do you, Avery, disagree that that kind of, overt expression of opinion is not obstruction, it is not an order? Why do you say this is far more complicated?
I think it's much more nuanced than that. There's no order. I understand how one might interpret it, but legally speaking, it is a reflection of intent, Frederica. That's what's so important. You follow the tweets along here, and you have a sense, especially on the legal question of obstruction. And you, for example, look back to May 11th, 2017, when the president tells Lester Holt at NBC, look, I got rid of Comey because of the Russia investigation, not for what Rosenstein said. So you put it in context. The tweet to Jeff Sessions, who, as a matter of regulation and ethics, Frederica, was obligated to recuse himself. There's nothing he can do. The investigation is going to proceed, but the tweets are evidence of intent to obstruct, and that's
so you agree
why
with me.
they are
very good, Avery.
So then you are both saying the same thing, because while Jeff Sessions has recused himself, and the president is directing, even though he's speaking his opinion, and he's directing his sentiment to Jeff Sessions, it really is Rod Rosenstein who would have the power to end the investigation. So, Richard, is it kind of an error on the president, or was this is this intentional so that it doesn't appear to be obstruction, that he really is speaking to Rod Rosenstein even though he's directing it at Jeff Sessions?
Well, you would think by now someone would have educated this man in the fact and the hierarchy and how the procedure goes, and that Sessions is not capable of ending the investigation. But you're right, Fred. I mean, it's clearly the sentiment of this man, because let's face it, he's the target. He's the one they're looking for. So sure, if he's so innocent, why would you want the investigation over with? If he's so innocent, no collusion, no collusion. By the way, collusion equals conspiracy, Fred. 18 U.S.C. 371.
That's correct.
Is conspiracy. That's a federal crime. And they get up there, and Giuliani, it's not in the federal code, collusion. It's conspiracy.
I love the impersonations here. Okay. So then, Avery, if you are Bob Mueller and you're reading this latest tweet in concert with all of the other tweets, what is this equipping you with if you are Bob Mueller in terms of whether this is direct, it's by mistake, or it's intentional that the president is trying to stand in the way of an ongoing investigation?
Oh, I think there's no question that the tweets, remember there were two of them. Number one, he's asking Jeff Sessions to end it. Well, that's not going to happen. And then secondly, listen to this, which is astonishing to me. He starts talking about the Manafort trial And this is about Manafort's behavior before he had any involvement with the Trump campaign, and he calls it a hoax. What's he trying to do? Poison the jury across the bridge from where you are in Alexandria? Goodness gracious. The tweets, I think, are just impulsive reactions. I think the lawyers, the real lawyers in the White House are maddened by what's going on. But I think, frankly, he's going to do what he wants to do. And every time he tweets, he hands Mueller on a silver platter more evidence of potentially collusion, but certainly obstruction.
And Fred, it's more than just impulsive reactions. It's coming from the President of the United States. It's not coming from some low-life person. It's the President who's saying these things, Fred. It's out of control, and he can't keep his mouth shut. And I'd like to have $1 for every lawyer and every person who told him, don't tweet, don't tweet. You're making it worse for yourself. He's out of control. He's unhinged. This man is unhinged, Fred. Something has to be done quickly here. Unhinged.
We'll leave it right there. Richard Herman, Avery Friedman, thanks so much. Always good to see you guys.
Good weekend.
Take care.
Always have me laughing, too. Make us smarter, but they also have us laughing.